Construction of pattern for back piece of saree blouse. In the previous session, we identified the standard measurements required for making a saree blouse. In this session, we will see how to construct the pattern for the back piece using a triangular scale based on drafting instructions. At the end of the session, you will be able to construct pattern for back piece of saree blouse using a triangular scale. First, let's familiarize with the tools and materials required for doing this exercise. They are notebook, pencil, triangular scale, measuring tape, back piece pattern and drafting instructions, fraction table, and scale. Now let's see how to draft the pattern for the back piece of the saree blouse in the notebook using a triangular scale. In the previous session, we took the different body measurements required for a saree blouse. Note these measurements taken in your notebook. From the drafting instructions for the back piece of the blouse, see if any fractions of the body measurements need to be taken. For that, we will use a fraction table. First, we will find 1/3 of waist length, which is 15 inches. Here, we get the value as 5 inches from the fraction table. Similarly, we will find half of chest circumference, which is 35 inches. Here, we get the value as 17.5 inches.
Also, 1/4 of 35 inches is 8 3/4 inches. 1/3 of 35 inches is 11 3/4 inches.
And 1/12 of 35 is 3 inches. Now half of underbust circumference, which is 28 inches in our case, is found as 14 inches, and 1/4 of 28 is 7 inches. Similarly, find the half of shoulder width, which is 14.5 inches. From the fraction table, we get the value as 7.25 inches. Finally, half of sleeve width of 10 inches is 5 inches. It is better to note down all the values found in a tabular format so that it becomes easier to refer while calculating the values. Now we can copy the drafting instructions in the notebook. But instead of fractions of body measurements, we will substitute the values that we have found using our fraction table. But here, we will be copying only those instructions which need calculations. Now, we need to find the sum of these values. We've already learned how to add and subtract numbers using a measuring tape. We will use the same technique here to do the calculations. The next step is to draw the pattern for the back piece in our notebook using a triangular scale. Here, we are using a 1:4 scale to draw the pattern. As per our drafting instructions, first we will draw the line 0, 1, which we have found out as 16 inches. Now we can draw the line 0, 2, which is 10.25 inches. Construct 1, 3, which is also 10.25 inches. Join points 2 and 3. Now mark point 4 such that 0, 4 is 7.25 inches. Starting from point 4, draw a line perpendicular to line 0, 1. The point where it meets the line 2, 3 is point 9. From point 0, measure 6 3/4 inches and make a mark. This is point 5. From point 5, draw a line perpendicular to line 0, 2. The point where this line meets the line 4, 9 will be point 19. From point 5, measure ½ inch down and make a mark. This is point 6. From point 0, measure 3.5 inches and make a mark. This is point 7. Now join points 7 and 6. Now from point 0, measure 9 and a quarter inches downwards and make a mark. This is point 8. From point 7, measure 9 and a quarter inches downwards and make a mark. This is point 15. Join points 8 and 15. From point 1, measure 9.5 inches and make a mark. This is point 10. Join points 10 and 9. Then from point 1, measure 3 by 4 inches and make a mark. This is point 11. From point 11, measure 5 inches upwards and make a mark. This is point 12. Join points 11 and 12. Now mark 3 by 4 inches on either sides of point 11 and make marks. These will be points 13 and points 14. Join points 13, 12 and 14, 12. Now from point 10, measure ½ inch along the line 10, 9 and make a mark. This is point 16. Join points 14 and 16. Now find the midpoint of the line 8, 15. First measure 8, 15 using the triangular scale and then find half of the obtained value using your measuring tape. Mark the same on your notebook using the triangular scale. This will be point 17. Similarly, find the midpoint of line 7, 15. This will be point 18. Join points 17 and 18 in a curve. This will be the back neck. Now find the midpoint of the line 5, 19. This will be point 20. Now from point 19, measure 1.5 inches outwards and make a mark. This will be point 21. Now join points 9, 21, 20 in a curve. This will be the back armhole. Thus we have constructed the pattern for the back piece of the saree blouse using a triangular scale. In this session, we have learned how to construct the pattern for the back piece of the saree blouse using a triangular scale. Before we conclude, let's take a look at the key points. Step 1. Refer to the drafting instructions to see which body measurements need to be taken. Note the measurements in your notebook. Step 2. Check the drafting instructions to see if you need to find out any fractions of the body measurements. If so, draw a table with all the fractions to be found out. Step 3. Use the fraction table to find out the fractions of the body measurements. Step 4. Copy the drafting instructions in your notebook by substituting the values found out from the fraction table instead of fractions of body measurements. Step 5. Add or subtract the numbers if any. Step 6. Construct the pattern in your notebook with the help of a triangular scale. With that, we have come to the end of this session.